Which, as I said this morning at the start of the symposium, it is our tentative certificate program in press politics because it is in the proposal stage, and we are working on having that approved, and we anticipate next fall, 2012.
That's what we anticipate.
Andy is the parliamentarian expert here and how everything works in the university. So we're hoping for next fall, which is obviously 2012, and this time next year, when we're in the middle of that political season, hopefully we've got as much learning and research going on regarding media and politics as we possibly can.
This country is so polarized. You know, we've always been that way. You know, my grandmother was the most dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. I think she, back in the 40s, when divorce was not a word, probably wanted to divorce her husband for not voting for Harry Truman. But this country is so polarized. It's incredible. I mean, you've had a storied career. You've got a few years on you. Don't you? Have you seen an increase in the amount of vitriol that's being espoused here?
I have, but I try to.
Traditional types of methods that they have used, which Don's going to talk about, actually how experimental methods have been influential in changing the way that we approach the study of politics. And at Nebraska, we take sort of an even more different type of approach. In the panels that went on this morning, there was a lot of talk or a lot of themes about the polarization of the United States. Perhaps it isn't necessarily that the media is pushing people to be polarized, but perhaps they're self-selecting into these media outlets because of the way they approach the world. If I'm on the left, I see the world differently than a person on the right. Right? So that's what we wanted to look at in this paper. So this first piece is looking at what we call eye tracking. And so there's this sort of helmet type device that you place on participants. I've actually
books you read. The background for this line of research is the rise of fascism, which gave birth to modern social science. The political scientists of the 1930s and 40s really wanted to understand the conditions under which the mass media could shape attitudes and behaviors. And in particular, they were quite concerned with mass their own. So much of the research that I'm going to summarize very, very briefly, because we just don't have very much time, is an attempt to show how 3 different designs are viable in a real-world context. So the very first one I'll talk about uses a so-called cross-sectional design, which is to say we're going to study a variety of media markets at one point.